Davengers. West Coast Davengers.
There's only one mantra that you all need to know. That's that one over there. See Todd, bye Todd.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the West Coast Davengers. Due to the overwhelming success of my Cartoonist Kayfabe Tribute Week, I am bringing you what seems to be the most popular thing that you all enjoyed. I bought some more Comic-Con programs. We're going to flip through a 1986 San Diego Comic-Con program, but first, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not. And do me a favor, drop a comment down below if you were there or if you weren't. I just want to hear from you. I have a podcast called Direct Edition. It's got its own YouTube channel. Plus, you can find it on every major streaming platform. The links are in the link tree down below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel by buying some merch, well, I've got a merch store down below. And every other Wednesday is West Coast Wednesday, my comic claim sale. You can buy comics right here live on this YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's take a look at this. I've actually never been to San Diego Comic-Con. I was going to go when I was in my 20s, but I didn't. I still, at some point, will go, but the heyday of San Diego Comic-Con being about comics is well over. So I figured, you know what? I'll just relive it by flipping through these programs with you. Let's take a look. So 1986, and this is obviously the make or break year for the comics industry. 1986 explosion is is in full swing, actually, because we've got Frank Miller doing The Dark Knight Returns. The cover is done by Jazzy John Romita. She-Hulk is juggling. I don't even know what's happening here. It's kind of like a pyramid, except it's not. But you got She-Hulk, Wolverine, Daredevil, Black Suit Spidey, Thing, Nightcrawler, and the Human Torch in the background. And this is kind of a good indication of what is going on in the Marvel Universe right now. Marvel being quite popular in 1986 as well, because you got Black Suit Spidey. I don't think you still have Frank Miller on Daredevil, but I could be wrong. I don't think he was doing Marvel and DC at the same time. The X-Men are in full swing in the Claremont run and beyond, actually. If you've never been to San Diego, San Diego's a fantastic town. It's probably the only place where you can live in great weather all year round. And there are a lot of comics there, obviously due to San Diego Comic-Con, but there's also a lot of comic stores. But this is a LA comic store guide. And it's funny because Golden Apple is still one of the biggest stores in Los Angeles. And they had 2 stores apparently at this time. So you get a little introduction. And we jump right into it with the DC ad. And, DC pumping The Dark Knight Returns. And I guess Watchmen as well. This would be a very big year for them. And as you could see, there's some names in here that are synonymous with those things. And, Dave Gibbons being the artist of Watchmen and Frank Miller being fucking Frank Miller. Brian Bolland doing a San Diego Comic-Con piece right here of Lady Blackhawk. Howard Chaykin's American Flag. Now, let's see if there was anybody interesting here on the... I recognize some of these names at the board of the directors, like Doug Chapman, but I'm just looking to see if there's anybody that would surprise me being involved with San Diego Comic-Con here. But nothing really jumps out at me. But they do thank some of the contributors to this year's publication, including Mark Evanier and Jim Steranko, Trina Robbins. I wonder if this is the year... I guess Frank Miller was doing double duty at Marvel and DC at the same time, because you have Elektra Assassin by Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz right here. By the way, you can buy Sienkiewicz stickers from me if you'd like, and Sienkiewicz t-shirts. So you get the Sienkiewicz Elektra Assassin illustration and ad, but then we jump right from Miller and Sienkiewicz to this awesome, very Hernandez Brothers-like ad, and that's by Jaime Love and Rockets. There's only one thing I can't figure out. What's a con? That's so good. Little advertisement for a blood drive. Comic art seminars. Scott Shaw's doing an animation one. Steve Olive's doing coloring. Mark Evanier, or it's Evanier, doing writing. And Steve Olive doing coloring. Here's the crazy thing. Steve Olive, he's still a god. It's crazy. I mean, Steve Olive, founder of Ollie Optics, and he did the color guides for Akira when they came to Epic, and he was coloring Spawn too. And Mark Evanier, he's prolific. DNA Agents, Crossfire Rainbow, Whodunit, but he's also a collaborator with Sergio Aragonés on Gru, and that's a huge thing. And Scott Shaw, with the exclamation point, that's how he spells his name. Designer for Muppet Babies, and among a lot of other things throughout time. He's the person I'm least familiar with his credits, but I know the name and I know he's super important. Got an article on the business of comics, and once again, I could have read all of this, but I literally just got these the other day. So we're looking at this at the same time for the first time. Charles Vest, just this beautiful illustration here. He's one of my all-time favorite artists. One of my favorite books that Charles Vest has done is the Spider-Man Spirits of the Earth, and I think this is the first time I had ever seen his artwork, because my friend Larry gave this to me, and he said I would like it. It's signed. And it's just a great Spider-Man story where him and Mary Jane go on vacation to Scotland. And I won't ruin it, even though this book is 30 years old or so. But it's an absolutely stunning piece of work, and everybody should be reading it, or should read it. And so yeah, Vess also did Sandman and Books of Magic, so seek him out if you don't know him. We'd like to welcome our special guest. So San Diego Comic-Con, obviously not the spectacle it is today with, hundreds and thousands of artists and stuff like that. But let's see, we got Mark Evanier, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee. You've heard of those. Greg Evans, Marion Zimmer Bradley, Jack Katz, Dale Messick, Frank Miller, Mobius, Martin Odell, Harvey Picard, George Perez, Robert Shane, and Doug Wildey. Now, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Mobius, Harvey Picard. Those four being at the same Comic-Con beats pretty much every Comic-Con that exists today. Just four people. Just four. So here we got I've never seen this piece before. Kaluta and Wrightson doing The Shadow. And Kaluta is very well known for The Shadow, but I don't think I was ever aware that he was inked on The Shadow by Bernie. Matt Wagner right here. So there's more guests. Okay. So here we go. We got the Big Daddy, the Grand Poobah, Mr. Dark Knight himself, Frank Miller. Iconic image here. And so 1986 would have been the year that he really broke out with this piece, because he did Ronin before that, and he was on Daredevil as well. And it wasn't until this did this name become part of the lexicon of pop culture. He was a comic book guy, but this was what moved him into the mainstream. And I imagine 1986, a lot more people knew who Frank Miller was that didn't read comics than today. So that would be the year that The Dark Knight came out, 1986, and just blew the world of comics up. Paul and Karen Anderson, I don't know who they are off the top of my head, but I'm sure somebody in the comments below will tell me that I should know who this is. They did the annotated Sherlock Holmes. Greg Evans, who's a cartoonist. I'm not familiar with his name. Luann is the strip that he did, so it's not something I'm familiar with, but I'm sure some people that are older than me will. Got a cocktail party for Renegade Press, which published very early Eric Larson stuff. Golden Apple has an ad here, and like I said, still on Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles, at least last time I was there. PandaCon ad for San Diego Comic-Con, that's really cool. We've got Sergio Aragonés doing a Gru San Diego Comic-Con ad. It's just a wildly talented human being, and like I said that one time in the House of Mystery video, he always puts himself in his pieces. We've got Ken Jones and John Cummins doing Hero Man, Attorney Smith by Rick Hoberg. And there's the legend, Jean-Giraud Mobius. One of the Mount Rushmore artists, cartoonists of all time. and somebody that's also super responsible for a lot of design in movies. He's as prolific as they come. Yeah, there's really no other word that describes him as well as prolific. His work brought acclaim from the film community, including directors Federico Fellini and George Lucas, who wrote the introduction to the French edition of Mobius' most recent release. I think George Lucas owns a lot of original Mobius art too. And then obviously, if you want to hear some really great stories, you should check out Jodorowsky's Dune, which is the documentary about the making of the movie that never happened. He was one of the primary designers in the movie, along with H.R. Geiger, and then Geiger went on to create the look for Alien, but so did Mobius. Mobius helped in creating that as well. And then we got the King, the fucking King, and Jack was a mainstay at San Diego Comic-Con for, I think, as long as San Diego Comic-Con existed. And look, I guess, there's Jack and Roz by Jack. Another great piece. And if you haven't heard already, there is something coming from me and my friend Andrew, a Jack Kirby zine that we created. And Andrew did the layout and the design. So look for that soon. There will be an episode coming up talking about that. But there's the King. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what he was doing around this time, but it was probably Captain Victory. And, and then he passed away less than a decade after this. All right, now we have Del Messick, an appreciation. And this is written by Trina Robbins, somebody that I believe Trina looked up to Dale and was very inspired by Dale, who was the creator, I guess, of Brenda Starr. But somebody that in the 40s was doing, and 50s was doing strips, as you can see right here. All right, now we have Doug Wildey, and he's the creator of Johnny Quest. I come across a lot of these Johnny Quest books, and it was a Hanna-Barbera Studios property, but I can't say I've ever read anything, but definitely seen cartoons. But that was written by Mark Evanier. I keep saying his name differently. All right, we have a Comico ad, a 2-page color splash ad. We've got some Mage and some Grendel and some Spaceship, or I think it's Spaceship Yamamoto or something like that. Some of these I'm not really familiar with. Comico is a little before my time as reading goes, but Elementals was Comico, and Johnny Quest is up here. So I guess I do know a lot of those. Star Blazers, that's what it was called. We got a Howard Chaykin First Comics ad here, American Flag, and check this out, Dave Stevens full Rocketeer ad. That's so cool. I've never seen this particular image before. Doubleday doing an American Splendor ad. And then I've got Steve Lee Aloha, which is, he's a mainstay also at San Diego Comic-Con. I wonder if he lived either there or maybe Hawaii. Mr. X by Ken Stacy. And then we have an R.L. Crabb ad, which that's funny, because if that's not a pseudonym for Robert Crumb, I don't know what that is. He even looks like Robert Crumb. Little Man by Salmon, Wee Pals, Mort Walker, Rick Geary. I know that name. That's a really cool piece. Jim Davis. It's just a random Jim Davis Garfield piece there. Don R. Christensen, Mort Walker right here. And then we've got Joshua Quagmire. It's interesting. I don't know Joshua Quagmire, but it definitely looks like it's influenced by Vaughn Baudet. Ooh, look at that. Frank Sirico. I don't know what that character is, but that's really cool. William Stout. Where are my Garbage Pail Kids? Yeah, Stout was, he's maybe the greatest dinosaur artist of all time. You might have an argument with Stephen Bissett, but man, that's a dope piece. Oh, he was production designer for Masters of the Universe for Canon Films. Oof. That was a movie, let's just say. All right, Trina Robbins' piece. Another kind of cut out, make your own, dress your own Mrs. Fangirl. And Bill Woggin's Vicky Valentine. I love that it's just full of art. It's not an advertisement for a publisher. It's an advertisement for the actual artist. Very art-centric, obviously. Congratulations to San Diego Comic-Con for the First Kingdom, Jack Katz, one of the longest-running creator-owned. This dude, these books are insane, and his art is off the chain. If you ever check out a First Kingdom book, it's pretty impressive how much work he did. Al Gordon here doing a piece. Dennis Malone and Rick Hoberg, Renegade Press Eternity Eternity Smith. That's what confused me. That's a pretty cool splash. Robert Shane calling Inspector Henderson. This is way before my time. I don't know who this is at all, but some of you probably do. I know this guy. Excelsior guy. That's the guy. Stan Lee looking very 1980s if I ever see it. What can you say? Stan the Man, Mr. Marvel, the biggest and greatest mouthpiece that Marvel Comics ever had. One of the greatest marketing geniuses of all time. Does not just comics, of all time. Marion Zimmer Bradley. I do not know Marion Zimmer Bradley. Fantasy Tales like the Mists of Avalon. Some of you probably get mad at me for saying that, but I don't know who that is. Jack Katz, speaking of the First Kingdom. See, look at if you see the picture here, look at that's all his covers there. I mean, the man was prolific. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would cite him as a huge influence. Martin O'Dell. So Martin O'Dell is a co-creator, a creator of Green Lantern. I did not know that, but then again, Green Lantern was created in 1940. And that's the Golden Age Green Lantern. What's his name? Alan something? Alan. I want to say it's Alan Grant, but it's not Alan Grant. Anyway, I never really connected with Golden Age Green Lantern, but Martin O'Dell. Now I know his name. All right, we got a Michael Moorcock Elric ad here from Graffiti Design. And the hardcover by Roy Thomas, P. Craig Russell, and Michael Gilbert. People love this. There's a lot of people that were super influenced by Elric. What is this? B.K. Taylor. Not familiar with B.K. Taylor. Who's this? We got Chris Etheridge and Reggie Byers. Oh, Reggie Byers. Okay. I know that name. And I know Katie Keene by John Lucas. Steve Canyon by Milton Caniff. That's a pretty cool ad. Let's see what we got here. Ben Adams. But it looks like some Myth Adventures, but this looks like it might have... Yeah, it looks like it was inked by R.T. Bear. You can see THIBERT. Characters by Robert Asprin. But that's cool. Early R.T. Bear piece. Will Eisner doing The Spirit. I'm sorry I will not be able to attend this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Give my best. That's great. That's great. Somebody owns this, or somebody probably still owns this piece of art that Will Eisner sent in. Oh, Master Sensei, Stan Sakai, 1986, Usagi Yojimbo. What a great piece. It's interesting. I never noticed it, because there's not a lot of profile pieces of Usagi, early Usagi. But that's Stan Sakai's face. I've met the man a bunch of times. That's Stan Sakai's face. That's pretty cool. It's the 40th anniversary of Usagi Yojimbo this year. What do we have here? We've got a Bern Hogarth piece. That is beautiful. Wow. I don't know what character that is, a sword and sorcery character, but that's an absolutely stunning piece. That might be the best piece I've seen yet. Last of the Viking Heroes by somebody named Thibodeau. Thibodeau? Comics Review ad, and then we've got a Bob Burden Flaming Carrot piece right here. That's really cool. Kyra. I don't know what this is. Kyra is independent character comic, but there's no name here that I see that would be an artist attached to it or a writer. It's not actually a good idea to put an ad for a character or a book and not tell us who's involved in it. Scott Shaw's our urban gorilla right here. That's really funny. It's not Sergio Aragonés. It's not Sergio. He had to make sure. Oh, look at that. I knew this was going to be a Larry Marder piece from Tales of the Bean World. There you go, right there. So weird. So weird. So, this character's hair is a guitar. It's the head of a guitar. The frets, whatever the end of the guitar is. I don't fucking know. I don't play guitar. Shut up, Dave. Oh, look at that Eastman and Laird piece with the Turtles as Mr. Miracle, Thor, the Demon, and obviously that's probably Mikey. Oh, no, wait. What does he got here? Oh, he's putting on a Thing costume. Look at this piece. This is so cool. I wonder who owns this piece now. So this is a Kirby tribute piece by Laird and Eastman. Obviously, Kirby created all of these characters. And you've got, like I said, Mr. Miracle, Thor, Demon, and he's putting on a Thing costume. I'd like to imagine that's Michelangelo. I actually have no clue who it is. And it says, "Thanks, Jack," down here. And if you've never seen the Donatello micro series issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's a Kirby tribute issue. All right, so the 1986 Jack Kirby Comics Industry Awards. Look, there's Jack right there. Who else do we have? Okay, so we got Dave Stevens, Alan Moore. Oh, this is the famous Alan Moore. If you've ever seen, there's a picture of Alan Moore giving a speech after he won the award, and Kirby's kind of looking on, and Alan Moore looks crazy. So Alan Moore, Kat Rondwad, I don't know that. Don Thompson, Dick Giordano, Jerry Bingham, and Dave Ulbrich. So, this year's nominees, Best Single Issue, Daredevil 227, Mage 8, Miracle Man 1, Superman Annual 9, and Swamp Thing 43. I don't know who won that. Best Artist, Alan Davis, Jaime Hernandez, Steve Rude, P. Craig Russell. I'm going to take a guess, I have no clue, that Jaime Hernandez won that. Best Writer, Gilbert Hernandez, Frank Miller, Alan Moore, because Alan Moore did Miracle Man and Swamp Thing, and then Matt Wagner, Mage. What a lineup there! Holy shit! I'm not going to go through all these, but I do want to see what the best continuing series is: Daredevil, Love and Rockets, Miracle Man, Nexus, and Swamp Thing. So if Alan Moore didn't win, then Alan Moore beat Alan Moore. Oh, there he is, George Perez. I mean, George Perez is one of the most influential artists of all time, and also somebody that had no business being able to put as many characters on the page as he did, and it's kind of nuts. He was a fantastic artist. We lost him a couple years ago. I got to spend the weekend with him at a con, and he was a very sweet guy, and just such a great artist. He was, obviously big in DC with the Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Wonder Woman ongoing that he did, but there's just so many things that he was involved with that were great, like the Infinity Gauntlet. It's a poster I'm staring at right now. All right, another absolute legend, Harvey P. Carr, creator of American Splendor, subject of the film American Splendor. When it comes to influence also on the next generation, he gave Ed Piskor his start in comics. I've never read too much American Splendor, but whenever I look at those books, I love seeing what he's done. But it was an autobiographical comic that really, really inspired a lot of people. All right, let's see what we got here. Mort Walker doing a piece here. I can't really tell who that is. I mean, it looks like ElfQuest ripoff, but I don't know what it is. Alex Toth. Interesting. It's like a character design piece. All right, a Johnny Quest Hanna-Barbera piece by... Is this like a jam piece? Oh, it's William Messenger Loebs. Okay. But he's got a couple of different characters here. Johnny Quest and Mr. Monster. We got a Gilbert Hernandez piece. That's pretty cool. comic book convention. What is this? Oh, it's just a ad for a... I don't know. Don Doherty, and I can't tell who this is. Regards, Carter and Scher. That is Hawkman and Hawkwoman, but I don't know who the artist is. It's really hard to read the signature on there. We got a Steve Rude piece right here. Rude the Dude. Nexus. And then a Michael T. Gilbert Mr. Monster piece. Or Gondary. I can't really read who that is. And then Badiak. Alright. Somebody wants to chime in who that is, because I don't know. It's interesting. This program says nothing about the actual programming of the event. Like if there were panels or anything, unless that's at the end. Got a Jack Katz First Kingdom piece. Paul Power. Rock Warrior. It's pretty dope. Very outlaw looking. A little Crumb tribute right here. Or maybe it's a Crumb spoof. The aliens are here. Get them before they get you. In memory of Bill Scott, Alan Saunders, Dick Moores, and Walter Gibson. Bill Scott. Guess he was the creator of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Alan Saunders, Dick Moores. Looks like he was a cartoonist. Alright, and then we have Walter Gibson, who at first my brain confused him with William Gibson, the writer of Neuromancer. But Walter Gibson, his fame comes from his pseudonym Maxwell Grant, and he was the writer and creator of The Shadow. Very big author, but it's funny that his biggest thing comes from The Shadow, and here's this great Jim Steranko piece of The Shadow. And that's the end of 1986's San Diego Comic-Con program with a new universe. It ends with a new universe piece from Marvel Comics. But this was a fun flip through, actually, being that it was 1986. But maybe it's the whole thing with 1986 being the big explosion year was that it was all in hindsight, like maybe even in 1987 people realized, holy shit, all this stuff had come out this past year, and you don't realize that you're in this big wave, this big trend and huge influential time until you look back and you're like, oh my god, it was then. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking through this. Like I said, I got some more San Diego Comic-Con programs. I'm going to try and pair a couple of different Comic-Con programs up, maybe per year. But thanks for watching this. Before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and all that. If you're going to be in the Washington area at the end of June, the weekend of the 22nd and 23rd, I'll be selling at SummerCon, which is a pretty big Comic-Con in Puyallup. It's not too far from Seattle, and I'll have a large booth there, so you can come down and buy comics from me in person, or just come say hello. Some great guests there, including Jim Starlin, Mark Bagley, and Ryan Otley. But this has been great. Don't forget to come back next week for some more West Coast Davengers. Davengers.